Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, March 29th, 2018. Let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. There's been a little bit of resurgence of blast from the past talent in bodybuilding over the last year or so. And at this weekend's Indy Pro, it looks like a new generation of bodybuilding fans will get their first chance to see former three-time Olympian Silvio Samuel hit the stage for the first time in nearly a decade. Earlier this week, we saw Samuel make his way out to Gold's Gym Venice to train alongside the legendary Charles Glass, where he tried to make the last few finishing touches before stepping out under the bright lights for the first time since early 2011. At one point in time, Samuel was the hottest name in the sport after several years with back-to-back top 10 Olympia finishes and a whole handful of wins along the way. But as the old saying goes, Father Time remains undefeated, so it'll be interesting to see if the resurgent Samuel still has any juice left in the tank. Apparently, Silvio Samuel wasn't the only guy who had the Indy Pro circled as his comeback date on the calendar this year, because word on the street is that former top 3 212 Olympia finisher Aaron Clark is heading out to make his first crack at the Open this weekend. New update photos from Team Clark have been making their rounds lately, where we see the veteran big man sporting that trademark ultra-grainy throwback 1990s conditioning that he's famous for. When he announced a few years ago that he was leaving the 212 for the Open division, I think the general consensus from everyone in the know was that it was probably the best thing for his health and his long-term career. But now that the moment has finally arrived, I guess his fans will finally get to see if it was all worth the wait. To quote the legendary 1990s movie, The Sandlot, heroes are remembered, but legends never die. And last weekend, the good folks down in Baltimore got to experience firsthand what it means to see a living legend in the flesh when our old friend Kevin Levrone took the stage as the featured guest poser at the NPC Baltimore Gladiator Championships. True to form, Levrone looked the part of an absolute freak of nature when he stepped out there on the stage. And truth be told, he might have actually looked better than he did competing down at the Arnold Australia. At 53 years of age, this guy still never ceases to amaze me. And if I were one of the young lads out there, I would be taking as much of this in as I can, because once this ride is over, you'll never have a chance to see it again. Usually this is the point in the season where you can start to pick out the athletes who are ready to go on a short run if they can keep their ducks in a row. And with less than 48 hours to go before he makes his season debut, former men's physique top 10 Olympia finisher Joseph Lee is making a strong push to be one of those athletes. Earlier in the week, Team Lee released a few progress photos a few days out from his season debut at this weekend's Governor's Cup. And if you can remember back, it was right around this time last season when Lee delivered the best effort of his career to win the Salt Lake City Showdown. So if he gets back into that zone again, I don't see why he can't score another W on the stage that he's all too familiar with. If you're a 212 fan and you've been looking for a reason to plan a last-minute vacation, now might be the time to see if you can hop on a plane and head way west to catch Sami Al Haddad in action at this weekend's Fiji Pro. After putting together a pretty solid top effort in his season debut at last weekend's New Zealand Pro, the man they call the Blacksmith is almost ready to lay it down on the line again this weekend in hopes that he'll finally punch his ticket back to the Olympia stage. Throughout his entire career, Al Haddad has always been the kind of athlete who has talented enough to hold his own against anyone. But if he can tighten things up another 5% or so from what he brought to Australia, career win number 4 might be less than 24 hours away. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I want to thank Todd Payette for this cool Iron Lion shirt.